Fantasy Football Fanalist Podcast, presented by Fantasy Data. Here's your hosts, Billy Muzio and Bradley Stalder.
Welcome back to the Fantasy Football Fanalist Podcast, presented by Fantasy Data. Billy Muzio here in the house tonight, and I got a couple guests tonight. I am been fired up the last couple days, ready for this draft. With me, I have Triple H, aka Dave Hubbard, who's been drafting with me pretty much nightly here at the FFPC, and then his old partner in crime, the half Millie squad from 2016, Nelson Sousa, is joining us tonight for a three-man showdown here on the FFPC. Boys, welcome to the pod.
Hey, Billy, what's going on, man?
Oh,
I'm excited. Let's fuck shit up.
Let's do it. So we already have the board here. Let me pull it up. Let me see here. Boom. So inside, of course, Chalk Christian McCaffrey goes 1, Travis Kelce at a 2-hole, Dalvin Cook at 3, Zeke at 4. So far, no Midnight Madness. We've seen some crazy boards here at midnight.
Definitely a lot of crazy boards at midnight. Nelson doesn't do a lot of FFPC, so he'll enjoy this.
Yeah, we had, what was it, a couple nights ago? Sorry, Nelson. A couple nights ago, we had, what is it, Cook fall to the 5-hole?
Yeah. Yep.
I'm assuming it went something like this, and like, what was it, like Kamara and Henry went ahead of him?
Exactly. Yeah, I think it was CMC. No, I think actually Kelce fell outside to the 6-hole. I think it was Christian McCaffrey. I think, and then it went Henry, Kamara, Zeke, and then it went Cook, then Kelce. It was pretty crazy. Yeah, you see some funny builds here at midnight. People either drunk, they're tired, or they're just YOLOing.
All green. So
tonight we're drafting in the 12-hole. I drafted the 12-hole last night. I got sniped about 4 times. It was quite the time. Team turned out all right. It wasn't my favorite build, but it did turn out okay. What are you boys thinking tonight? You guys, are we feeling a BPA? Are we going to go a little crazy here? Are we gonna get Nelson on the edge of his seat?
Yeah, let's see what's there when it comes. We got some people that I recognize in this draft tonight. You have Azuri. I didn't look on the list. I just recognized the name. Yeah, there's a bunch of people in this draft I recognize. So, be an interesting one.
And Rozek's been in like every draft we've been in the last 3 nights.
Yeah, he does a ton of drafts too over here. I won't say what hole they're in just to protect their identity, but yeah, all those guys are in here.
So off air, Nelson, we were talking about FTN. Why don't you let the listeners know what you do over there? Tell them about the magic that Nelson has.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Let's get to our turn here and get past it, and then I'll be able to talk all about it and everything. I just don't want to throw us off talking about it, and then we're on the clock.
That's probably a good call.
It's an interesting draft board. I haven't seen one like this lately, where it's all green with there goes Tyreek.
Yeah, we've been seeing some pretty yellow boards here as of late.
I mean, Derrick Henry, so that's crazy. I'm already over my single shared quote on him, so we might have to let him go to the second round for the first time ever.
I mean, I'm not high on Henry like either of you are, but I think 12 spot's pretty silly. Oh, Good, they saved us.
Yeah, they saved us from ourselves, but I was going to let him go. Okay, so what we have Waller in this format. We have Diggs. We have Antonio Gibson. We have Najee Harris. We have DeAndre Hopkins. And that's it for me.
Nelson, who are your top 3 for?
My vote, I'm assuming in this format, because although I don't play too much on it, I'm going to assume that Waller, this is kind of late for him, that he usually goes in the first round. So I'm probably leaning Najee Harris and Waller.
Okay.
I actually love that. That's my vote too. Actually.
Okay. I like it too. Dave and I have been talking about mixing in more Najee, and Waller at this late is late. So I'm going to lock in Waller here. It gives us another few seconds just to talk it over.
I think there's only been 3 drafts that I can remember where Waller made it here or later.
You guys gave him to me in the hardway draft at like 2-4.
I remember. That's the part that went all year. Went 2-3 a lot, but a lot of times he goes anywhere from the 4-hole to the 8-hole.
Okay, so
I love the thought and that frees us up to do anything now at the next several turns. So I love the start.
Yep,
yeah, I like going running back here with Waller because it gives you number 1 back to hang your hat on, and then it, like Dave said, it frees you up at that point because I like punting my RB2. If the right value presents itself, we take the RB2. But like now we're open, in wide receivers, there's going to be good wide receivers that we're going to like at the 3-4 turn.
I agree. So I'm going to lock in Najee Harris here. We've been talking about adding him more. And we all agree that we can get value at wide receiver, especially later on the board. I think we're all in agreement that we can punt the running back too if need be, and unless there's something, some silly value that falls our way, and we can rock and roll from here. It kind of really opens up any options moving forward. Well, now the turn's over. We got like 10 minutes till we pick again, probably.
Yeah.
So walk us through FTN, what you do. Give all of our listeners the 411. Sure.
So FTN, I've got my rankings there along with my fade list, and I've got about a half a dozen articles. I've got a article on an auction draft that I did over at the NFFC, and then the big thing is I have my coaching package, which includes we're on a Discord chat. Guys can ask me questions on a daily basis. They might be in a slow draft, best ball draft. They hit me up, ask a question, as far as debate between picks, lineup construction, and then right into the season, besides, draft advice, is helping everyone with their waiver wire and stuff like that.
So how'd you get into the coaching side? I'm really curious about that. Is it something that you started personally and it kind of just worked into FTN, or walk us through, I guess, that concept or that idea?
Yeah. So, first and foremost, I was always a fantasy player, playing high stakes since probably, I want to say it was since 2006 I've been playing. And there's a part of me that I've always enjoyed helping others. So besides trying to make money, as a fantasy player, I wanted to be able to get into the content side of things, help others, and, get paid for that. So I do get enjoyment out of that in trying to get people to become better fantasy players. So I feel like with my experience, I have something to offer and I can help others. So that's kind of how I got into it. And then the whole coaching package thing was kind of something that I came up with that I feel like, you can subscribe to any site really and get a set of rankings and, and so on. But what are you going to do with those rankings once you get in a draft room? Just having a set of rankings and going off of it is not going to help you draft a good team necessarily. So it's, for me, my thought process behind it was, more of the coaching side of it, of, how to, lineup construction, how to build a team, how to adjust on the fly. So if you've got a wacky draft going on and wide receivers are flying off the board, you didn't plan for it, what's the rank, what's rankings going to do for you? So it's just that part of the learning and becoming a better fantasy player, because I honestly think there's a lot of really good fantasy analysts out there, but I think once they get in a draft room and they start drafting and guys are getting pushed up and kind of like their sleeper picks or guys that they're high on all of a sudden go flying off the board 3 rounds early, not so much they panic, but I think there's an adjustment period. How do you adjust from that? And I think there's some guys that have a talent for that. And I think there's other guys that are not very good at it. And then they end up, kind of with a shit show team. So that's kind of like always been my thing, that I want to be able to help people, understanding the draft board, the flow of the draft, getting that feel for that part of it.
It makes sense. And there's a quote that you just mentioned. It's a quote that I always like to refer to, is everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face. And that was by Mike Tyson. And that's kind of what you just said. I think people get so set in rankings and projections that if anyone deviates from it, they freeze and they look at it. And I think you hit the hammer on the nail. It really affects roster construction. And that's something that Dave and I were talking about, especially in like these best ball drafts that I've been doing, is you only have 18 spots, and roster construction is very important when you have a limited number of roster spots. And you see teams that are taking 4 quarterbacks when you're taking up more than, almost 1/4 of your roster is to a quarterback. And that's just poor roster construction, in my opinion. So you're finding, a lot of these people are eliminating themselves as they're drafting before we even get into week 1 based upon their roster construction.
Yeah, for sure.
Any surprises here through round 1, round 2, boys?
Terry McLaurin, 2-5.
Yeah, can we talk about my boy getting drafted where he belongs?
I actually know the guy that's in that hole. I recognize the team name, and he's a baller.
I like it. I don't hate it. I mean, I love him, but I was so used to getting them in like the 3rd and the 4th in some drafts even.
We didn't even talk about Chubb at 1-8. Chubb at 1-8 and fire McLaurin immediately thereafter. That's interesting. 2 players I like, so I don't hate it. He figures McLaurin's never been back to him lately in the 8-0, so I value McLaurin more than these other guys. I'm just going to fire him here.
I really like Terry, but over Ridley, I mean, I have Ridley projected for like 157 targets.
I like the aggressiveness, but it begs the question that, in this format, I've seen Nick Chubb live in the 2nd round. So, and then there's some times where McLaurin does make it to the middle of the 3rd round. So you're basically passing up on, like, I don't care for Derrick Henry this year, but you're passing up on a Henry, a Tyreek Hill, Devontae Adams, guys like that, to have as like your number 1 pick so there's going to be teams out there that have Chubb, McLaurin, and then have one of those other players. So you need your 3rd round pick essentially when you're that aggressive, in this tournament, you need your 3rd round pick to outproduce the 1st round pick.
Right.
Yeah.
Or play him even.
He could have built this team from round 2 on, I think, possibly. I mean, I think Dave's right. McLaurin hasn't getting pushed up, especially with injuries as of late to Cam Akers and Michael Thomas. So we've seen these boards shift a bit, but I still have seen Terry land at that spot, even as of lately. So I do think he could have potentially built this squad from round 2 on. But who knows? I mean, maybe Terry would have gone right after Justin Jefferson here or even before. So he is aggressive there, but I do feel like he could have at least pushed one of those 2 back. So where do you have McLaurin in your rankings this year, Nelson?
I got him number 7 overall.
Okay.
Out of wide receivers, number 7.
Yeah, I assume so. So what is that? Tyreek, Devontae, Ridley, Hopkins, Diggs, Brown, and then that's it. And that's it. Yeah. Okay. That's pretty close. I think I don't have my rankings in front of me, but I think it's about 10 is who I have. I think I have Keenan ahead of him and DK and Jefferson.
Okay.
Very close, though. I mean, I love the fact that he's got gunslinger, magic man, beautiful beard, Ryan Fitzmagic back there.
Yeah. Definitely going to make a difference when pushing the ball down the field for sure.
I think you're going to see more explosive plays out of McLaren with Fitzpatrick. That was something that Smith wasn't comfortable doing.
Well, yeah, what was that stat? What year was that? The Chiefs? He didn't throw a touchdown to receiver for 15 games or something like that.
Yeah,
it was something stupid.
Yeah, and Fitzmagic loves to push the ball down the field.
And people aren't talking too. Terry played on that high ankle sprain for the final weeks.
Yeah, he was banged up,
and he still was burning people.
They said he's killing it in OTAs and camp. He looks really good, which is not surprising.
Yeah, he's an excellent route runner.
Third round starts off 4 straight wide receivers. This has been kind of the new theme.
Yeah. The boards have flipped. I mean, you were getting CD and McLaren in this format early in the drafting season in the 4th round. So 4-1, 4-2, 4-3. I think I have a share of CD at 4-4. And McLaren went to the 4th round several times early, but now they've converted to more like a yellow sticker type of format.
Yeah. Now, in your opinion, do you think that's injuries related as well? That's just pushing people up boards, or do you also think it's just clarity at quarterback positions? They're understanding the positions more. What do you think is causing more of the wide receiver runs now?
I don't know for sure. Maybe you were drafting with different people, and the people are drafting now in the mains, and then these football guys just value the wide receiver position more than the early drafters. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think ADP just tightens up as the drafting season goes. Those wide receivers that you're taking in the 3rd round, their bust rate compared to the running back that you're going to take there in the 3rd round, there is a difference there. So you're getting more of a sure thing with the wide receiver.
Yeah, probably a combination of all of the above, and we're just seeing these boards start to settle, especially as we see August drafters start popping in. It's less of the grinders, I should say, and more of the, as Dave would call, tourists here at the FFPC, hopping into drafts and are drafting name brands at the house too that they're familiar with.
Very much so.
So we got we're on deck.
I'm gonna
here.
love this turn.
Yeah, it's a tough turn actually because there's 5 or 6 or 7 guys that I can live with.
I like a Mike Evans Cooper Kupp or Mike Evans Robert Woods turn.
Yeah, I'm a big Robert Woods fan. I have Woods ahead of Kupp. I also like Mike Evans as well.
Like both of those. Yeah, I can live with Robert Woods, Mike Evans, Cooper Kupp. Who did he took somebody? Slowed up. My board slowed to update.
Well, it seems like we're all on the same page here.
Wow. Okay. So, yeah, I think it's a combo of Woods, Evans, Kupp, Godwin. And I like Chase, but we don't have to take Chase in this one. So, Woods, Kupp, Evans, Godwin.
So we beg the question, do we want 2 from the same team or are we splitting it up?
Let's split it up and get 1 from each of those explosive offenses. Tampa, and just got to pick which 2 we want.
For me, it would be Woods and Evans.
I like that.
That's my vote.
Okay, easy.
Okay, easy peasy.
Like
Woods is locked.
Waller. It's kind of like why I like Waller in the 1st round in this format because you don't have to feel like you want to push tight end. Then you don't have to worry about tight end runs. You don't have to worry about anything. You just take the best players that like coming back. Very nice start.
And you can also push you can also now push your tight end 2 back far as we need to. We can live with, a solid RB1 here and push RB2 back until we either see a value or until we feel like we need to pull the trigger.
Puts you in a really good spot. I love the start in the 12 hole. People hate the 12 hole. I really like the 12 hole this year. I built a lot of variety in the 12 hole.
I think for the first 4 rounds, it's impossible for them to really like snipe you. There's that 1-2 turn. There was like a half a dozen guys that we could have taken there, and then this 3-4 turn. No matter what they do, there's gonna be 2 wide receivers that, for me, I'm always gonna like. The 3-4 turn for me is not really a running back target area. I'm always, going to take wide receiver there on that turn.
Yeah, I concur. I think really the only time I start feeling like I get sniped at the 12 hole is you start seeing runs in like, the 12th or 13th round where people start going, tight end heavy and you're looking for your second tight end, or maybe you waited on tight end and you're trying to, push the position and grab a value later and then a run happens. That's the only time I find myself in the 12 hole. At any given time, so I push a position too far, and then a run occurs sometime in between.
Mm-hmm.
And my guy in the 8 hole he does not care. I like him.
Everyone's up around.
Yep, he's going to get who he wants because nobody's going to outdo him.
So 11 holes, 4 solid running backs here to start: Derrick Henry, Gibson, David Montgomery, Chris Carson. He's the only one so far that has 3, let alone 4.
Yeah, these boards were like we talked about that one night. That one night was an extreme where there was 4 teams that started 3 straight running backs.
Yeah,
and 3 teams that started 4 wide receivers. So it was a really extreme draft. This is more even, but guys are going a lot higher than what they normally go. Like Lockett. I mean, I've seen Lockett go to 5-7 many times. I've seen him go to the end of the. I've got a 7-1 share of Lockett in this tournament. So, but
yeah, I'm used to seeing Chase and Lockett go after guys like Godwin, Kupp, and DJ Moore.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, Chase is kind of sneaking up boards though. We saw him. I think didn't we see him go in like the end of the 3 the other day, Dave?
In the main event, I haven't seen Chase go past 4-4 in any main event I've done so far. It's crazy. And I've got shares at 5-10 of Jamar Chase, and also have shares of I saw him go 6-1 in the draft. So yeah, it's crazy how and there hadn't been any games and really not a lot of practice news. So I don't know what caused all of a sudden where he's just locked into the early 4th round now in this format.
Another player that seems to be not necessarily falling, but the hype seems to have worn off a little bit is Kyle Pitts. I mean, we were seeing him go in round 1 in some of these drafts in early drafting season. Round 2 was pretty frequent. And then the 2-3 turn was where he lived at for a long time. And now we're seeing him in the middle of 3. What do you think is causing him to slip?
Just this lack of information right now. As soon as the preseason starts and he has a preseason game where he catches 7 or 8 balls, forget about it. He'll be going back in the first round in this format or in the middle of the second.
That's what I was going to say. I said, you think the hype's worn off? Just wait and see the preseason. That first game where he rips off, nice catch and run. He's going to be right back up there.
For sure.
Yeah, when I say worn off, I'm just talking like round 1 to round 3. Like there was people firing him up before Waller in some drafts. It was pretty crazy.
The guy in the 2 holes.
I like what Team 3's doing. They've got a nice little team to start with.
Chester, he drafts a lot. Got a nice little team. Who else they got? That's probably I like Team 3, probably the best start out of the. Team 1's got a nice start too, though.
Yeah, I like Team 1 too.
Yeah.
He better put Tannehill on that team.
Yeah. Typical combo of the Tennessee receivers with McCaffrey and CEH. You really can't hate on it too much. Very well done. CH is a guy that has a wide range over here. Nelson drafts in the other format a lot, and he doesn't have that kind of range over there in that format. But over here in FFPC, he has a wide range.
Where does he go over there primarily?
He's locked in early second round. Doesn't get past mid-second round.
Yeah, that's the thing here. Like, you'll see anywhere from like Gibson, Aaron Jones, Mixon, and CEH. Like, you can pretty much interchange any of those running backs in this format, like from like early 2 to end of 2 in any draft that you're in. You can see them go at any given time.
Yep. A lot of players over here have a range. Godart, for example. Seen Godart. I've seen him go in the 8th round. I've seen him go we got him at 7.5 one night. He goes into 6 a lot, and then you'll get in the draft where somebody will fire him at 5.3. Weird.
What are your guys' opinion of Godart? Like, my opinion, I think he's going too high. I think there's that sweet spot of tight ends that go after Kelsey, Kittle, Waller, and then you got Hawkinson and Pitts. I feel like Andrews, Goddard, Fant, all these other guys that are going to go off the board, I feel like they have such a wide range of outcomes that I just assume I'd rather take a wide receiver there in the 5th round and just have Dalvin with 4 strong number 1 wide receivers than take Goddard, because I feel like the tight end I'm going to get in the 8th, 9th round, let's say, is going to be similar.
If I was only doing one team, I would definitely agree with that. But the way I look at Goddard and Andrews is they have what you're saying is accurate in my opinion, but they also do have the capability of blowing up and outperforming where they go. So I guess it all depends on how you're structuring the team. The reason they do it, I think, in this format, why I do it occasionally, is because a lot of times a guy I really like at receiver might be there, and then in my portfolio I can have a Goddard and an Andrews team, and I'm still getting a wide receiver that I covered in the next round. And then I can just push tight end back. But I agree. There's tight ends below them that could definitely outperform them easily.
Yeah, I think the volume and the way you're building them is key. But I also think that people initially had Goddard. So I think Goddard has fallen into just an ADP trap, because I think people had anticipated Ertz being gone by now. I mean, I know I did, even when I was doing my early projections. I did not assume that Ertz would be here on the team come August 1st. I just assumed he was going to be traded. And I think that people also expected that, and that's what was pushing Goddard's ADP up. And now that Ertz is still on the team, I think people are just drafting Goddard based upon ADP and where they're comfortable and where they see him. And they haven't adjusted for the fact that Ertz is staying possibly. But I do think that this offense does use a lot of 12 personnel. I mean, when that OC was over in with the Colts, we saw a lot of Mo Alley Cox. We saw a lot of what's his name? I'm blanking on his name. It came from the Browns, from the Bears.
Jimmy Graham?
No, the other tight end that was Burton. So
Trey Burton.
So they used 2 tight end sets all the time. So I still think there's a scenario in which Goddard and Ertz can both be successful in this offense, especially given the lack of offensive weapons. I mean, we saw even already Devonta Smith today with a lower leg injury, nothing serious, fortunately. But Rager isn't a stud by any factor. So we may see these 2 tight ends, be the leading receptions on this team. Unlikely, but not out of the question.
Yeah.
But I'm not comfortable taking him the 5th. I'll just say that.
Yep.
All right. So we're up in 3-3 here.
Yeah, this will be a little more interesting turn, I think, to talk through and work.
I think there's gonna be more debate, I think, between the 3 of us on this one. So we probably should start it now.
Let's see who this guy takes, and that will help me a little more, I think.
I'm going to say Thielen, Hunt, Edmonds. I'm
Let's see what he did.
He took Claypool.
Good. Okay. I personally like, with based on what we've done so far, is I like Thielen. I like Judy. I like Michael Carter, pushing him up.
You guys have been trying to get me to take Carter. I'm okay if we do it this time.
What else do I like? No tight end.
For me here, it's Carter, Thielen, or Judy, and that's only because I'm trying to up my ownership of Judy. So, every draft counts. I don't know what you guys think of Judy and how many shares you have of him.
We're split on him. I like him.
I'm underweight on him. I'm not sold on him, but I think I'm kind of in the same boat as you, Nelson. I feel like I need to start adding him more just because of my ownership percentage.
Anytime Von Miller talks, I listen. And Von Miller says today that Judy's going to be the best receiver on their team. So,
put it this way, this turn, usually I have a ton of Beckham, Juju, and Robbie Anderson.
Yeah. That's usually where I'm at too.
And
that's where I'm at. So I got to change that thought process.
Are we going Judy then?
Yeah, take Judy.
I think it's Judy and Carter. Yeah.
I want to up Carter, so I'm fine pushing him up a little bit in this one. I own too much Kareem Hunt, and I own too much
Edmonds.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm getting heavy on Edmonds. I already have a lot of Hunt, and I've been talking off air. We talked today, boys, about me adding more Carter. I think I said underweight, and I think one of you said anorexia.
And again, what we believe in Carter, taking Carter here, it gives us 2 rookie running backs, but it's 2 rookie running backs I'm pretty high on. And then it allows us a lot of flexibility at the next turn.
Okay, and we know Michael Carter is not making back.
Yeah,
exactly. Okay, so let's go ahead and push him up.
He's been getting hype in camp also from the reporters talking about that, he's the first running back running with the first team offense.
Here lately,
I'm going to lock it.
Okay. His ADP has ranged from the middle of the 6th to the early 7th, maybe, but I haven't even seen him stretch to the 7th very much in the drafts I've been doing lately. So
I just tweaked my projections today on the Jets after our discussions that we've had with Carter. Also after hearing some training camp news and just wanted to go through and start fine tuning projections. So I want to hear your guys' opinion on this because I was not a Michael Carter fan up until about a week and a half ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, and so my initial projections for him here, this is July 31st, is 173 carries, 709 yards, 5 touchdowns on the ground, 10% target share, which is 53 targets, 37 receptions with 309 yards through the air, another 2 scores, which is 181 PPR points or 11 points per game. Too low? Too high?
I think that's very conservative.
Yes.
Because I think whether it's Coleman or whoever you have as kind of like the next back in that committee, because it's going to be a committee back. I'm not saying that Carter's all of a sudden going to come out here and have a McCaffrey workload. That's not going to happen. But what I think people where they're missing on it is they kind of have a biased opinion of just the New York Jets in general. So it's
when we had the discussion, I can't get around the New York Jets.
Yeah, I literally said my block is #Jets.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. So I wasn't part of this conversation. So my thought process was already, this is before us even talking about this, is that I think that that's the case for a lot of people, is that they're looking at it as, the Jets and, Adam Gase and horrible offensive weapons, offensive line is trash. And that's all changed this year. You've got
they made some improvements to the O-line.
You got a good coaching staff, the improvements on the O-line, take a look at it this offseason. They have a rookie quarterback. He's going to make mistakes. Zach Wilson 100% is going to make mistakes. But when you look at the skill set that they have for their offensive weapons, you're talking about Corey Davis coming in. You now have Elijah Moore. You have Jamison Crowder, who's a professional wide receiver that knows how to get open in the slot. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I'm looking at it and I'm saying Tevin Coleman to me is washed up. I think he was brought in because he's familiar with the coaching staff and the scheme that they want to run. So it kind of makes sense for him to come in kind of like a complementary role. And those other backs, while I think they're capable of, performing, there's nothing special about any of those other backs on that depth chart. So I look at it as like, Carter's coming in, that regime, that front office, those coaches drafted him.
Yeah, and all valid points. My only hesitation was, and you hit the hammer on the nail. My second running back on that squad was Coleman. I agree he's washed, but he does have the Robert Saleh connection here from the Niners, and so I initially feel like he's probably going to be on the field more than he should because we both agree he's washed. But it's a familiar face for the head coach with some system basis here as well, and I don't have him projected for a lot, but maybe I should be tweaking it here, but I only have him for like 145 carries and 600 yards, 608 yards to be exact, and 3 touchdowns. So maybe it's a little heavy. Maybe he can.
I think that's a lot.
Shave 20 carries off there, maybe 25, 30 carries, and shift that over to Carter, which gets him closer to 190, and I think that probably bumps him up quite a bit. So good, it's a good discussion. I can tweak. That's why I like these things, especially on players that I wasn't high on, and maybe I had biases coming into the season when I went through my first round of projections, and you start talking with other savvy drafters and analysts and getting more analysis, and you can go through and update projections and kind of fine tune things.
Yeah, for sure. I don't do projections. I do more like range of outcomes, but like if I had to throw like numbers out there, I'd probably say that Carter's going to be in the 800 to 1,000 range for rushing yards, and then I think that he's so explosive in the passing game and has very good hands that I would probably project him for probably like a 45 to 65 range for receptions, add in another, 400 yards passing. So total of 1,400 yards, whatever that equates to, I think, in his range of outcomes, if things break perfectly for him and the Jets are competitive this year, I think he could be a top 12 running back. I think that's in his top range of outcomes.
I agree.
So live tweaks to my projections now. I just taken everything we're saying in here. I'm just updating. Just bumped up to 191 carries. Took about 20 from Coleman, added 20 to Carter, and then gave him 2% more target share, which puts you in that range. That's 45 receptions there with 64 targets.
This draft has a lot of interesting stuff going. Kyler Murray going way after the other quarterbacks, Russell Wilson.
Yeah, what is going on here? That doesn't.
It's Midnight Madness, man. Welcome back.
That doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense to me.
I like the one host. I like exactly.
He wanted the DK stack, and he maybe feared he wasn't going to come back.
I guess so.
I mean, I don't know. Like I get it. The one hole's got AJ Brown and Julio. So, hey, Kyler Murray falls into his lap. He's not going to worry about Tannehill and stacking. But team 3, like, how do you not take Kyler there at a discount? When you have Hopkins.
Exactly.
I don't get it. And then Murray, to me, Murray's is closer to Mahomes than anybody. So the dude got a great deal on Murray in this one for sure.
Yeah.
Michael Thomas continues to be fired up in the 6th too. I still think it's too early for me. I won't do it.
Too early. I wouldn't take Michael Thomas in the 18th. So
how many weeks do you think he plays this year?
Maybe 2. The dude didn't even get surgery, man. He could have got surgery 6 months ago. I'll tell you all you need to know. I'm big on common sense. The dude should have got his surgery. Even his coach, he doesn't get along with Peyton. Their relationship is toast. The dude doesn't want to play football, obviously, or he would have got his surgery done 6 months prior. The conservative projection on the guy's injury, based on what the doctor said, was 16 weeks, and then he has to condition himself after he comes off those 16 weeks. So do the math, and I think he did it on purpose. I think he has no interest in playing football this year. So, and I own a few shares of him, which I did. Which I wish I didn't now, but I drafted a few shares of him in the mid-third. But I don't expect him to play it down this year, actually.
Nelson, what's your take?
I agree with most of what Dave's saying, but from a game theory perspective, I'm looking at it as if Michael Thomas does return healthy, we know what he's capable of as a receiver. So if I can get him in the 8th or 9th round where I feel like that pick is not going to be detrimental to my team, I'm willing to take a few shots when he is available, which is not very often because guys continue to fire him up in the 4th round and 6th round, so it's not like I'm going to just be overweight on this guy that could possibly miss the whole year, but I'm going to take a few shots because he's going to be like my number 5 wide receiver at that point, the way I build my teams. And it's, he's not going to matter if, let's say, it is a wasted year to my team. I've burnt, so many, 8th and 9th round picks before.
Yeah, so you're picking him over players like Elijah Moore, Curtis Samuel, Michael Pittman, that range?
Yeah, because those players, their range of outcome, they definitely could be fall into the wide receiver 2 category and be like a top 24 wide receiver. That's possible with those guys. But if Thomas returns, there is no possibility. If Thomas returns, he's gonna get a huge target share that none of those wide receivers can touch. And for the stretch run, that's what I'm looking
at. Scrubs, yeah, and especially the scrubs there that are, they're with the Saints right now. I mean, I know a lot of people are getting high on, Traquan Smith and Harris and Callaway, but I mean, let's face it, if Michael Thomas does step on that field, he's the immediate alpha 1.
I'm not sure on that anymore. I mean, I saw the dude couldn't beat a nickel cornerback. Y'all got way higher expectations on it. I wouldn't even want to start him if he did come back for the last 4 weeks.
Maybe they'll line Deshaun Watson up at cornerback and let him face him because Deshaun Watson's playing safety right now and running back.
He'd probably be able to lock him down pretty easily.
That news out of camp, they have him lined up all over the field, just standing as a decoy.
That's a shit show too.
All right, we're up next here. My boy Debo's there, and I never take an opportunity to pass on him. But if you guys want to, I'm okay with it. LaVisca too. I like LaVisca.
Oh yeah, of course.
I like Antonio Brown. And I think it's nice having Evans with Brown. Let's say there's, a Godwin injury. Brown's shown that, he's got good chemistry with Brady. All of a sudden he turns into a wide receiver 1.
Well, they have coffee every day with Giselle at home.
I actually like the again, and it's Debo, Antonio Brown, LaVisca, Big Mike. I like 2 of those 4. I don't like the position here. I like receiver again.
I have very little of Debo, so if you guys are high on Debo, we could go Debo, Antonio Brown, and then maybe we could come up with a little Tampa Bay stack and get Brady later.
Let's go. Let's go LaVisca, Antonio Brown. We're overweight Debo, so I'm fine passing Debo a couple times.
Yeah, Debo's my most owned wide receiver. I'm as much as I have the red and gold in the back. I'm okay if we pass on him. So I'm going to lock in AB then here first.
Yep.
Okay. And then that gives us 60 seconds to decide on the next one.
I like Laviska. I like Big Mike, but Laviska, I want some more Laviska because I like their shootout schedule. I like their year-end schedule, and I like the reports coming out of camp that him and Trevor Lawrence have been on the same page. So
yeah. So week 15 we have Jacksonville faces Houston,
yeah,
and then Jacksonville on week 16 has New York, and then Jacksonville on week 17. How much time do we have? 29 seconds. Okay. Jacksonville has New England. That's the only tough matchup. So 2 out of 3 ain't bad.
And it's not bad for Laviska anyway. So
with him playing the slot, he avoids Gilmore.
Yep.
Okay, let's lock it then.
There you go. All right. Plus,
where's your ownership at with Antonio Brown?
Own a lot of Antonio Brown.
I'll tell you right now. I'm pulling it up.
I can tell you what I own.
I'm at 4. Oh, nope, that's AJ Brown. Sorry. Antonio Brown, I'm actually underweight. I'm only at rounding up at 9%.
I'm at 20%. To be fair, I was getting deals on Antonio Brown in early drafting season. I was getting 11th round shares of him. So he was like a default pick for a while in the 10th and 11th round.
So good thing we passed on Debo. I'm up to 28%.
Yeah, I'm a little overweight on Debo too. I like Debo, but I can mix in Laviska with Debo all day long.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think they're very similar players.
Yeah. The only thing I think that Debo has on everybody, it's the yard after the catch. I mean, did you see that stat? I think it was like 6 point something was his average, and the next closest person was at like 3.
Yeah. Oh, I love Debo. I mean, I like everything about Debo.
Oh, look at that. We're talking about the whole time. The guy fires him up next pick.
Yeah. That's about where he goes. I mean, all these guys go in this range between here and I've seen him go in the middle of the 7th, all 3 of them, and I've seen Brown go as late as 11-4, 11-5, but not.
I like what Nelson said though. You know, we have Evans here. You're locking down. It's not necessarily a handcuff, but if anything does happen to either Mike Evans or to Godwin,
sure, it's stock Scott.
And he came in off the street and really performed. I mean, he was, walking in with sweatpants and a coffee in his hand and went out there and started putting up numbers right away after he was, signed to this team. And I think, quite frankly, really opened up this offense, and because we saw it really change down the stretch. And one of the main reasons I think was AB.
Yeah, he definitely. And they seem to he seems to gel well with Brady and the coaching staff. I mean, they seem to really like the guy.
Yeah, he's got good chemistry with Brady. And then, like I said, it doesn't need to be a season-ending injury for Evans, but if he got banged up, missed a week or two, you're literally plugging in Brown. You don't even miss a beat. And if something we're not rooting for injuries here, but if something happened to Godwin, Brown all of a sudden, forget about it on this team. Now you got Evans and Brown, soaking up all the target share, with Tampa Bay. I think he would become a monster. So, and he's got standalone value as it is. He's going to play in 3 wide receiver sets. He's going to have decent games where you can put him in depending on the matchup. If we don't like something, with Judy, or play him right from the get-go. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think he's being undervalued right now. We take a look at his game logs. So just pulled him up as we were talking, and came in off the street week 9, his lowest, his second lowest of the season, went 3 for 5 for 6.1 fantasy points. Week 10, second game off the streets, 13.6 fantasy points, catches 7 of 8 for 69 yards. Week 11, 8 out of 13, I should say, 57 yards, 13.8 fantasy points. Has a bad week, 2 for 3. Another, mediocre week, 5 for 5, but then goes 5 for 7 and a touchdown for 93 yards, 4 out of 6 with a touchdown, 35 yards, and then 11 for 14 out of 14 for 138 and 2 scores. So those last 3 weeks, he averaged, or not averaged, but he had 20.3 fantasy points, 13.5, and 36.8.
Yep. Yeah, there's upside with him. I look at him totally opposite than I look at Michael Thomas.
And what's nice too is we get a free look too with the Thursday night game.
Yeah, we talk. Yeah,
exactly.
With both of them. Say he has a huge game and Evans doesn't. You just plug him in.
Swap him.
Yep. Yeah, the Thursday. That's a lot. Something to think about when you're putting these teams together. Now it becomes after the Thursday game and you do drafts becomes interesting because value emerges. I can remember years when Nelson and I were out in Vegas and the Thursday game would happen in a routine player, a player that shouldn't even would be drafted in the second round and stuff, crazy shit. And then the opposite, a real good player would have a down game and they discount him severely in the draft following the Thursday game.
Yeah,
the overreactions.
Yeah, if I had to predict, that game and how, it's going to flow and everything, I'm predicting that, one or two of those wide receivers between Evans, Godwin, and Brown are going to move up in the drafts after the Thursday night game.
And then Dallas could have the opposite effect. Tampa has a good defense. Dallas, you might get some deals on CD or Cooper or even Zeke. Tampa has 7. You can see those guys. It could have an effect on their value because mentally people just hate to draft a guy in the first round that didn't put up anything in his first game.
Yeah, Tampa had a silly run defense last year. Don't quote me, but I don't think they allowed one single 100-yard rushing game last year.
Yeah, they were ridiculous.
Well, I'm liking the way we're shaping up so far. We have a solid wide receiver core. We got our running back 1, running back 2 right now. We have an elite tight end as well. Board is still open for us. We're not really held to anything right now.
Yeah, we're wide open. I like the team. I said I don't draft bad teams, but today I did draft a shit show.
Was it best ball? Was it FPG? What was it?
It was a football guys team, and I got a little carried away.
just burn 350.
Yeah, I think I got to start I don't know who I have to start. Maybe Xavier Jones or something.
Oh man.
I got tilted and a little pissed off, and then I get stubborn.
Justin Herbert's still on the board.
Yep, it's late for him. Well, semi-late. So he's won a few times here recently in the 9th round for some reason.
I love that kid, man. I think I have high expectations for him this year.
Got a big arm for sure.
They have an improved O-line. They have the right coach for Mike Williams to succeed. I think he's going to have a good season.
I think so too.
So every Miami wide receiver is injured right now. What's your guys' take on Mike Gesicki?
I don't just hate him. I like him. I drafted him a few times.
I've been high on Mike Gesicki ever since he came out of Penn State. So that was kind of like my guy that I overdrafted with Dave for a couple of years running. And you see it, if you're watching the games on Sunday, you see the talent and what he's capable of. And, the coaches just, for whatever reason, just didn't play him full time, didn't utilize him properly. And then you saw it last year. I don't remember off the top of my head, but I think he went on a decent stretch where he was like a tight end 1.
Yes, he did.
So I definitely think with the weapons on the outside, they've got some speed. They've got guys banged up. I think Gesicki definitely, in a contract year, it wouldn't surprise me all these, the last couple of years overdrafting him, and then I'm light on him this year, and he blows up.
That happened to me with Jamal Charles. Like I was just a year early, and I that's why I feel like I've liked Gesicki the last couple of years as well, and I wouldn't say like a complete disappointment, but he's definitely underperformed. But yeah, in talking about those games that you mentioned down the stretch, week 13, he had 11 target game with 9 catches and a touchdown. It was like 14.8 8 fantasy points. And then he had a 2-touchdown game week 14 for 18 fantasy points. And we're already seeing this wide receiver core is not able to stay healthy. I mean, I might start pushing him up my board.
Yeah, they do have a lot of guys that get nicked up for a reason. Will Fuller, I like Fuller, but historically, and I'm not an injury guy. I don't worry about injuries, but there's definitely some guys that have they're wound a little different. Soft core issues just get them. I'm on the screen. Soft core issues, injuries just follow them around. And it seems like Miami's full of those guys this year.
Your daughter walked in is like, nope, I'm out.
College today.
Is that the one who had her wisdom teeth pulled? Is she feeling better?
Oh, that was my younger one. My baby.
Wow, we still have Justin Herbert, Aaron Rodgers, and Tom Brady all on the board here.
Yeah. I wanted to go Brady, but I don't think I can pass Herbert if he gets there. But I think one of these guys will pick him off. I've never seen him here. This is the latest I've ever seen him go in any draft this year.
I think there's a lot of ways to go here. There's some options here.
Yeah,
there's a lot of options.
Yeah, I think the latest I've seen Herbert go this year is 9-2.
Where's Brady usually go in this format?
He's
like
all over.
10.
They snipe him in the 9th, and then he goes in the 12th. So he's and this obviously, other than the early quarterbacks, this has been a draft where they're pushing quarterback back.
Wow, Justin Herbert's still on the board. Aaron Rodgers on the board.
I mean, Herbert's the only one that gives me heartburn. Rodgers, I can take or leave. Brady, I like because of what receivers we had, but I don't worry about the stacking too much. I'll take the guy I think can throw for. I like Jamal Williams.
He took him.
Okay, good. We don't know. That's late. You got a deal. Maybe on this team we just lock in Brady and pick a running back. What are y'all thinking?
I like Brady, and then I like Connor or Drake.
I like Connor too. Dave's not big on Connor, but I like Connor.
We can own a share of Connor. I'm way bigger on Edmonds than I am Connor because I think Connor's washed. But this is late for him, and I don't know much. So let's lock in Brady with Evans, and because I own very little Brady too, and this is a good spot for him, I think.
Okay, I'm gonna lock in Brady right now.
Yeah, and then I just think Drake has way more upside than Connor, but we can have a share of Connor.
Okay, Nelson, I'm okay either way. So I'll let you guys fire it up. I like Connor more than Dave does. I'm lower on Drake than Connor, but I'm a good either way.
I like Gus.
Yeah, I can go either way. So I'll let you guys be the tiebreaker.
Let's go Drake because I think Edmonds had that job where I don't think I can see Drake taking the job from Jacobs. So if there's a choice and y'all don't care, I'll take the better player. And I think Drake is clearly the better player.
Okay, I'm just looking at any correlation real quick. Raiders with our team. I don't have enough time to check each week. Yeah. Okay, let's do it. Okay, Drake it is.
Okay. Yeah,
I don't even.
I think
what's Raiders shootout? Raiders shootout. They have. Let's see here.
They have a pretty good shootout, actually.
Cleveland week 16.
That's not great, but they can be had.
Denver. Oh, sorry. Cleveland 15. Denver 16. 17 is Indy. That's a pretty tough shootout, actually.
Yeah, I think
running back.
That's actually tough.
It's very tough.
That actually might be better for Drake.
because they stop the run more rather than the pass. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, that's not great. Cleveland, Denver, Indy.
Indy.
Yeah, Indy has a good defense.
Indy's defense is legit.
Yeah, they have a good line. Yeah, it's all right. I think we should.
It's funny because Drake was the Connor for the Arizona Cardinals, and now it's the same player, same position, different team.
Yeah.
And the other guy replaced him from the other team. So it makes the world go round.
My tiebreaker with those two guys is I think Drake has a clearer path to getting the whole load eventually than Connor ever will have.
I don't see a scenario where Drake gets the full load.
I did. I definitely did.
I think they brought in Connor to take on the Drake role. And, so if you look at that offense, how they ran it with Drake and Edmonds last year, I think that's kind of what you can expect again this year.
Edmonds was banged up, and they have a history with Edmonds, and Edmonds was a little banged up last year. So people don't take that into account either. We'll see. I'm a big Edmonds guy. I'm a huge Edmonds guy. I think he's way more talented than Connor.
I like them both. I like Edmonds a lot. I think I agree here with Nelson that I think that Connor just slides into that Drake role. I mean, I went over that stats with you on another show about Connor, and everyone assumed he was washed, but I mean, he was actually 10th in the league in breakaway rate. He was 15th in the league in juke rate. He still finished as RB23 despite only starting 11 games. So, I mean, those statistics tell me he was explosive, even when people, point him to be as not explosive. But, statistics say that when he's on the field, he was explosive in those categories.
He didn't pass the David Hubbard eye test, so.
Knock him down a peg.
He didn't pass. He did like uninterested. He did not look. I think that's why he didn't play as much either. But I think the coaches kind of got sick of it. Crying on the side. I don't remember that from him, like whining on the sideline. He just, I wasn't impressed last year with him at all.
I'm going to zoom out so we can see this board a little better. There we go.
What's my ownership of Connor? It can't be much.
I said I'm pulling up right now with both ownerships.
Actually, I don't own enough Drake, actually.
So James Conner is actually this is also best ball, the hold up here. Let me get just the FPG. Conner, I'm at 15.79%.
I'm at 5%, and I feel real bad, dirty about
it. Drake doesn't even show up on my list, so I guess this is my first share.
There you go.
So that was the right move for my portfolio. I have an Eno Benjamin share before I have a Drake share.
Benjamin's an interesting guy. I don't draft him this year, but it won't shut me off. He's involved quickly. They get a few weeks of Connor. Benjamin might be in play.
Yeah, possibly.
Yep, he's a talented kid, and they drafted him. That coaching staff drafted him. Oh, these dudes must be like listening to the stream. I think this is the latest. I don't think Connor went this late, maybe ever. And man, he didn't pass the David over that test. Screw that dude.
No, we're not streaming. I'm just recording. They hacked the stream.
His stream's down. He fired him up. He paired him with Edmonds. Perfect spot for Connor.
We still have Mckissick on the board.
Yeah, that's crazy too. He hasn't. I don't think he's went this late in this format at all. Nelson should love.
Yeah, no one likes him this drafting season.
He's got his Brady Tampa stat.
Yeah, I think Mckissick definitely is interesting because when you have nobody on a guy and you look at his skill set and his athletic profile and his role in the offense, sometimes that's like the hidden gem. It's the forgotten guy in the draft, but like it's not like he's some like tight end plotter, a high skill set. Like if you go look at his combine numbers, I want to say it was like in the 95 percentile and like across the board.
Yeah, he definitely was a freak show coming out of college. And he's had some big games. I mean, he's had some huge games in the NFL. Huge games.
Darnell Mooney, that's my boy. I love Darnell Mooney. He looked so good last year. And had they actually hit him like in stride instead of overthrowing him or underthrowing him, he would have had such a bigger year.
He goes at a fair price this year too.
Yeah, and he hasn't moved even with the Anthony Miller news.
Yeah, no.
I was expecting like a half round or maybe even a full round bump, but no.
Yeah,
people are like, Anthony Miller sucks. We don't care. Oh, looks like we lost Nelson.
No, did we?
Yeah.
Come back in.
Yeah, he'll hop back in.
It happens to me sometimes on this StreamYard, and then I have to go back to the link you send and click back in.
Yeah, I've noticed phones aren't as
there he comes.
Phones aren't as cooperative on this site. There he is. He's back. We got him back.
You might not be able to. We might not be able to hear.
Yeah, got disconnected there.
Yeah, it happens to me too sometimes.
Yeah, StreamYard doesn't like Wi-Fi, I've noticed.
I don't use Wi-Fi, so I use the 5G.
Do they pause it? Oh, no. There he goes. Okay. Auto-pick Mckissick. Nice.
Sometimes the clock freezes this year for some reason, these football guys. I don't know if it's a glitch or what it is, but occasionally it'll freeze.
I'm going to start throwing some names in the queue here. A little bit of a tight end run the last couple of rounds.
That's what's nice about having Waller.
Yep.
You just look at it and say, oh, okay.
Guy already fired up his second quarterback. Saw a best ball draft today where a dude took 4 quarterbacks.
I've seen a bunch of best ball drafts where they take 3 and 4 quarterbacks.
Yeah, I mean 3 is pretty common, even though I think it's bad, but 4 is just exceptionally bad.
Yeah.
It's like you're a special individual taking 4 quarterbacks with 18 roster spots.
Yeah, especially when you're really playing anything in the league. You're not blocking anybody. You're blocking yourself.
Yeah, you're blocking yourself from a championship.
Yeah. Dude just fires up, my guy. See, 11th round over here. Evans.
Yep.
That dude only has 3 wide receivers.
I don't know what he was taking They hit back and going through. All right, guys. What do y'all think?
He took Penny in the 10th. Penny goes in like the 15th there.
Yeah. He don't even care about ADP. He's just drafting his guys.
So for me, I got Cole Kmet on my list.
I want to go Bears stack here. Kmet and Damian Williams.
Beautiful. I had Kmet at the top of my list.
Can't argue with that. Yep, I like it.
Oh, he sniped us.
He took Kmet.
Yeah.
now I want to push the second tight end back. Kmet was.
Yep. Who was the other one you said, Nelson, that you wanted?
He wanted Kmet, and I did too. Kmet and
Damian Williams, and now let's go Xavier Jones.
Yep.
Xavier's on the list too. Okay.
2 running backs here. I think Kmet was easy. I think the way the draft fell.
Yep, I wanted Kmet. He was on the top of my list. Damn, got sniped. Okay, so Xavier Jones, we all in agreement?
I am 100%.
Okay, I'll keep him here as number 1, but if they give us some more time, who do you want as our second pick?
Damian Williams. Just take the guy with the running backs where we're short right now. So he probably did us a favor, actually, taking Kmet. I think that the structure of the team calls for two high upside guys, Xavier and Damian. That for me.
Okay, Nelson, you agree, Damian?
Oh yeah, it's Xavier Jones, Damian Williams for me.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. We're on agreement then. Let's rock and roll. Let's fucking go.
And Damian's moved up. I guess all the talk about him, and he got me today. He's definitely moved up.
So, guy I just can't get myself to draft is J.D. Mckissick this year. I think he had just such a inflated season last year with check down Alex.
And he's got a lot of competition this year for touches with Curtis Samuel and Logan Thomas. And it's a different back that doesn't really like to check down, likes to throw it down the field.
Shit, I even think they even give Gibson more passing work.
Sure. The dude in the 8-hole is definitely a high upside guy.
I think high is one thing. I don't know if he's necessarily about all the upside.
Yeah, but everybody's or guys that have hype, upside or hype, whatever you want to call it.
I mean, every single person on his team is at least like a minimum of a round early, with the exception of Pitts, but like everybody else is like a round to 2 early.
Yep.
Rashad Penny like 4 to 5, Terrence Marshall like at least 3 or 4, Darrington Evans 2 or 3. It's Midnight Madness. It never lets down.
It doesn't.
There's always something crazy at midnight.
Yeah, there's always something out of the ordinary.
I loved DM and Nelson here. I was like, hey, can you join us for a draft? And I was thinking, hey, he's East Coast. He's not going to want to join us at midnight. Maybe we can get him on. I get my nanny back on the 10th. We can do a day draft on the weekend or something. And he's like, bro, my wife's out of town all weekend. I'm drafting all day, all night.
He's always.
Yeah, I was like, what part don't you understand?
Quote unquote. Start taking a look at team builds here now. We got some downtime.
Yeah, people went a lot of different routes in this one. Per usual for this format. I mean, you've got many different structures.
Let's see. Initially, we said we liked Team 3 in the beginning.
I don't like it as much right now.
Yeah, I don't either as much.
I liked it through round 4.
I gotta be honest. I don't like Team 2 at all.
Team 2 is a little different, and he tried to start aggressively and kind of let off the gas. I don't mind Team 1 at all. I think he did a fairly good job of putting that team together.
I mean, right now he's got to play. If I'm seeing this correctly, he's got to play AJ Dillon or Samuel or Connor in his flex.
For Team 2.
Yeah, he's got to play Samuel. I mean, he's going to play Samuel, I would think, if he's healthy. The other guys, he's guessing on the number of touches they're going to get. And then he, not only that, find a second running back that he done. Interesting strategies that people come up with. But when you take 2 tight ends and a quarterback in the first 5 rounds, you got to do some stuff after that.
Yep.
I feel like Team 11 had some things fall to him where it played out nicely after starting 4 running backs. He was able to get Thielen, Galladay, Boyd, Debo, and then grab Justin Herbert in the 9th, and then double tap tight end with Jonnu and Clement. That worked out nicely for him.
Yeah, he drafts a lot. I'm familiar with him, and he did a decent job. Sure.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I'm not a big fan of once I take Henry and Gibson. I'm never taking Montgomery and Carson there. I'm always taking wide receivers. I think his team would have looked a little bit better because then he could have mixed in, like if he goes 2 wide receivers, he's got the 2 backs, and then he likes, Thielen, and he decides to take, Galladay, Boyd, Samuel, Herbert with the 2 tight ends. I think that worked out nice where he could probably have passed. He could have passed Galladay actually and taken Michael Carter as a 3rd running back. Come back, Boyd, Debo, like that.
I'm catching about 75% of what you're saying, Nelson. It seems like you're having a bad connection.
Yeah. Break coming in and out. I thought it was just me.
I thought it was me at first because I saw a connection thing at the top, but then during that whole conversation, he didn't move his screen. See, he's still frozen.
Yeah. I don't know if it's buffering or what.
I think we lost him again. So we have 13, round 13 now here. Starting to see the last of the tight ends.
Yeah, Hooper started moving up.
Yep, it's that news out of camp. You see that they're saying they're going to get him more involved.
Yeah.
Still got Gronk. You could tie it in with this team easily.
Yeah, you could. I don't know if we're never playing Gronk on the team, so I'd probably just wait at tight end.
We could push and just get an Arnold or a shit. I'm even fine pushing all the way down to Akins if we need to.
All right, so
he's frozen. I'm gonna put him backstage until we can see him back in.
Yeah, see if he can come back in. Hopefully, he comes back in before the pick.
Dalton Schultz. He can still help Nelson. If you can hear us in the back, try exiting and coming back in.
The guys in the chat want to know where this is being streamed at. Billy, I'm looking at the draft room. So.
Oh, I mean, inside the league?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll let him know after we pick. There's Nelson back. Hey, we got him back.
Is he coming back?
Yeah, he's back now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it froze up again.
Yeah.
You were cutting in and out pretty good. We got about 70% of what you were talking about, but I'm pretty sure I understood it. You're talking about him swapping out one of the early running backs and taking a wide receiver and then taking someone like Carter in round 6 and then adjusting a couple of his picks.
Yeah.
So we're up here in 2. What are you boys thinking?
I like adding another wide receiver here.
I like Rondell Moore.
I like Rondell Moore.
Okay.
I own very little of him, and I'm looking to increase him a little bit. So I definitely like Rondell Moore here. Then the question is the next pick. I'm not too worried about second tight end with Waller. I mean, we can continue to push it back.
Any interest in Rhaegar, especially with Devonta Smith already getting knocked up or nicked up?
Nicked up.
We could go to wide receivers here.
I'm fine with that because there's always another upside running back we can add to this.
That'll give us 7. I think a good structure.
Yeah, I'm good
with
it.
Okay, I added more. I'll add Rhaegar then.
Yeah, I like it. That gives us plenty of playable players at receiver now on this team. Since we don't have like an extra tight end on this particular in this format where we feel good putting them in the flex, that'll always allow us to have the running backs we have are upside guys that we're not really comfortable playing in the flex. We might be comfortable playing the second running back some weeks if we have. So
I'm fine pushing tight end back. We can grab somebody like Hurst or Arnold or even Uzoma if we have to. Akins late.
Sure.
Okay, I'm gonna lock in Rhaegar then.
I like
Zach Ertz still available?
Yeah, he was.
I actually think that's the play because I think Rhaegar's going to be very playable and Ron. It allows us a lot more weekly flexibility. So I like the wide receiver.
I'll let the boys know they can watch it tomorrow. I'm going to upload it tonight. That people are asking in the chat room where they can watch it. No, we're posted to YouTube. Post it tonight to YouTube. With this guy, hope the world sees my $1 million picks. What team is he?
I'm not sure.
He's team 6. Let me take a look at it.
Solid team.
It's balanced.
Maybe not a picks, but solid team.
It's the first time I haven't seen somebody fire up a defense in the beginning of round 13.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys here that they probably draft a lot because they push quarterback quite a bit overall, and they're not firing defenses early. So most of these guys probably draft. That's the other difference with the Nelson does the NFC format a lot is that the quarterback's a little more valuable over there with the 6 points per TD than over here. So you see, instead of tight ends getting pushed up, you see quarterbacks getting pushed up a little bit more over there.
I have yet to play it in FFC. I'm not a big third round reversal guy in it.
That's definitely one of the biggest differences. And then
I don't know why he had a buffering problem.
Yeah, Nelson, if you can hear us, we lost you again, buddy.
You got wide receivers too get cleaned up pretty quickly.
You cut out again, Nelson. Are you on Wi-Fi? Or are you on internet? Or are you on hardwire? Or are you on like 5G?
Yeah, I'm on Wi-Fi.
Oh yeah, it must have a short internet or something. Or
yeah, Wi-Fi 5G.
Yeah, if you're able to, maybe try cycling off the Wi-Fi, either running off 5G or cycle back on Wi-Fi. See if that helps it.
What was it? Say it again.
Try turning off the Wi-Fi and running off just 5G and see if that helps it. Yep, now you're moving good. I can see you moving better now. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you guys.
Yeah,
perfect. I can hear you. Now you sound clear.
Yeah, it must be a Wi-Fi thing.
Right as I said that, Pittsburgh is fired up.
That's pretty normal. I mean, 14th, 15th, 16th when guys start feeling like time to take.
Normally we see Washington go, though, or we see the Rams.
Yeah, Rams.
Nelson froze again.
That's weird.
Oh, there he goes. He moved. Pulled him off again while he's frozen.
Yeah, I don't understand. I don't know what's causing it because I haven't had any of those problems yet. I mean, I've gotten kicked off a couple of times, but I don't think we've had any like interruption when talking or anything.
Yeah, no, it's bandwidth. It takes up a lot of bandwidth. So if you're on Wi-Fi, it can be pretty spotty at times.
Huh.
Yeah, streaming will drain your phone and it'll drain your bandwidth. Like I'm hardwired with 300 megabytes, and it's showing right now that my connection's fairly good.
Yeah. All I use is a 5G on my phone. I don't even always have a lot of bars. So.
I like this draft though so far.
Yeah, I'm fine with it. I think 12 holes tough, as we say, but I've liked the 12 hole this year. But you definitely produce different looking teams out of the 12 hole for sure.
Definitely.
Even on either end, the 1 hole and the 12 hole can be tough in certain drafts.
So what do you think coming back? I think maybe we take either a Hurst or an Arnold.
Potentially. Let's see what it looks like when it gets closer to us. We've got a ways to go, but definitely.
Man, people push back quarterback so far. Trevor Lawrence is still on the board. I'm going to zoom out so we can see this board a little better. I'm going to keep scrolling up and down. There we go. Booker keeps sliding up. We were talking about him.
Yeah, he's definitely started moving up some.
Gone are the days of 16 and 17 we were getting them.
Yeah.
I got him in that Pros versus Joe's draft, I think at 16 or 17.
Yeah, he's with the news changes daily on Barkley, so he's a guy that definitely could have value throughout the season, depending on how they want to use Barkley, especially to start the year.
Yeah.
Recently there's been some decent reports on him that he looked better cutting and they were getting a little more confident, but anytime you have an ACL surgery, that fluctuates, I imagine. And plus, it's hard for guys to get back to not only the injury itself, it's tough for guys to get back to confidence that they had with pre-injury. So there's some of that, some mental aspect to it too.
Did you see today that Quadri Ellison's been the second running back up at camp?
Yeah, I saw that. Makes sense. He's a big dude, and all the other guys on their roster are smaller frame running backs. So, and he's been in that system for several years now.
We got Nelson back. Hey.
Trying under a different internet.
All
right.
Yeah, it's just body. You just break. You're talking about every fifth or third or so.
Third time's a charm. You didn't miss much. We were talking Devontae Booker and Quadri Ellison.
Okay, on this next turn.
No,
that's we were talking just news. Devontae Booker went in the 13th. We're just talking about how he's been moving up, and we're talking how Quadri Ellison's now been the second running back up in Atlanta.
To Nelson's credit, he's been on Quadri Ellison.
Yeah, I own a decent amount, but primarily in best ball.
I guess the question is there a tight end here we want to own? Or do we punt it back down the road again?
I like Arnold, and I also like Hurst. I'm higher on Hurst than most people are, even with Pitts in the offense. That offensive coordinator or the new head coach came from Tennessee, and when he was there, he ran the most 12 personnel in the entire league. So I don't think that goes away. I think that they're going to continue to run 12 personnel, especially with the lack of weapons they have.
Yeah. We could add Jake Funk to this team too. We have Xavier Jones. And really, running back is what we're short on.
Yeah, I feel like all the tight ends there's nothing special.
I agree.
Yep, I feel like we can push it. I feel like we're going to get one of the guys that we like in round 17 or 16 even. or 17 or 18. I mean,
even if we don't, I'm fine playing the waiver wire when I own Waller, so it doesn't really matter to me. If they want to take them, they can take them. There'll be a guy emerge. They always do.
Is Lawrence there?
Who?
He's cutting out again. Go ahead and message us in Twitter real quick. Do we want Olsen?
Olsen.
Quadri.
Oh, Quadri Olsen. I'd wait. I think we can wait.
Okay.
15
seconds.
Lawrence is still available, right? Lawrence?
Yeah.
Yeah, Trevor Lawrence.
Oh, my God. We had 2 seconds. That was too close. Okay. We have 55 seconds.
Look at this team again. I mean,
do we want to push up a defense since we're not really crazy about anyone else?
I'm crazy about somebody here. I'm trying to debate whether I add him here or not. I would just take Brian Edwards here. I think the guy that's an alpha dog and could be a freak show. It's one more receiver than I normally like taking FFPC, but I really don't care.
Okay, I like Brian Edwards too as well. Nelson?
I don't know if you can hear that. He's froze again.
He froze again. Okay.
Just take Brian. We'll move on.
Okay. Trevor Lawrence in the 15 is crazy.
Yeah, and I wouldn't even look at quarterback since we have Brady. I rarely take a backup quarterback, but I'm high on. I like Trevor Lawrence anyway, and I don't own much, so I think it's a great pick. And we have LaVisca on this team, so
yep,
I think that was a great pick. Once I have a quarterback, I kind of put blinders on it and don't even look for a second one, but I really like Lawrence this year.
Yeah, this is, I think, one of the most wide receiver heavy teams that I've drafted all year.
And I'm fine drafting a few of these, like I've talked about, but especially when I only have one tight end that I want to start every week.
Yeah,
I can. I like a wide receiver team a heavier wide receiver team, because then you can always have playable players. And we got guys that I think Brian Edwards is criminal where he goes in these drafts. I shouldn't say that on a string, but he definitely is a guy that goes way, way too low.
Yeah, I'm higher on him than a lot of analysts are.
There's not much difference between Brian Edwards and LaVisca Chenault, and I take LaVisca in the 8th round, where Brian Edwards goes in the 16th. Okay, sign me up.
So I feel like we will need to hit tight end on this next turn for sure.
Let's see. Yeah, that's fine.
Probably another running back unless there's a defense there we really want.
Yeah, definitely take some stabs at running back going the rest of the way. We're done at wide receiver.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nelson just had he had some bad streaming issues there.
He just messaged us on Twitter. Having internet issues. Gonna have to log off and let you guys finish.
Yeah, that's fine.
Cool. All righty. Well, for those who are tuning in, Nelson is having internet issues, as we could see. So just us two beautiful men are going to finish this out.
This is it. His input was valuable as always, and very sharp guy.
Yeah, I wasn't even looking at quarterback just because we already had Brady. Like, you and I never take a second quarterback.
I rarely do. But I don't mind taking Trevor Lawrence there at all. And that comes from he drafts in the NFC format majority of the time, and the majority of the time in the NFC format, you want to draft 2 quarterbacks because quarterbacks have like I said, they have significantly more value over there than they have here.
This draft room is chatty in here. I've never seen a draft room this chatty.
Yeah, they're late at night. They've been drinking a little bit and talking a little bit.
I got to get caught up. They're all swearing at each other too. That's awesome.
Good times. I don't look at the chat. I look at when we're drafting. I rarely look at the chat or look at the draft room because you make the picks, and I just I'm bored seeing what I want to do. But occasionally I'll click over to the room, and yeah, that chat was lit tonight.
They asked where I was streaming, and I posted the YouTube, and some guy said, "F your YouTube."
Yeah. Good times. Getting their 350 work. They paid their money and they're going to enjoy it.
And they're all going back and forth, swearing at each other. This is funny.
Good times. Good times.
They're probably like 6 Manhattans deep.
Yeah. And there's some interesting teams in here too. That's one thing about the FFPC though. You can log in any given draft, and you never know what you might get.
Never know.
From one draft to the next, it's a wide range of outcomes. And that's what makes it fun. That's why people draft over and over again. It doesn't get routine because there's something weird might happen. Something weird is going to happen in every draft outside the norm.
I'm going to start throwing some names in here. I got Hayden Hurst in the queue, Dan Arnold in the queue, Quadri Olson, Justin Jackson.
Jake Funk.
Okay, I'll add Funk. Funk's in there now. I'll add Javian Hawkins too. We could technically double tap it.
Yeah.
And grab both those backs.
Don't mind that.
Guaranteed one of the two now.
Well, Javian Hawkins doesn't help us with that, but Funk does.
Yep.
Oh, let's see.
Take a look at the defenses too.
Well, we have a defense by now because we've been taking a little earlier defense, taking elite defense, but in this one we're not going to.
No.
So we only have 2 picks left for position play.
Yeah, we'll just take our kick on our defense last 2 picks here.
Oh, I see. Yeah, you're saying even, but not. Well, essentially, yeah. Probably better taking Ollison and Funk, I think. And then if we do that, then we're going to play the waiver wire for our second tight end.
Yep.
So that's the question. Do we just take one of them and take a tight end that we like and don't worry about the waiver wire?
I think it's probably wise to take one of the tight ends and just pick one of the running backs.
Okay. I'm good with that. You know me, I live dangerous.
Yeah. I like living dangerously too, but if anything happens to Waller, we're fucked.
Nah, I've won with no tight end before. Won a league with no tight end. Got him off tight end up there. We won the league more than once actually.
Challenging, but not fun, but challenging.
People forget year to year that a tight ends emerge every year. A tight end we're not thinking about will emerge and be really good, as good as the tight ends below the elite tight ends. So good enough for you to win the league with if your team's built right. I mean, we tend to forget that, but it definitely happens.
Yeah, like look at CJ Uzoma before he got hurt. He was breaking out.
Yeah, the tight end behind Waller in LA is pretty good.
Morneau.
Yeah, he's a really serviceable tight end. If something happened to Waller, now you'd have to pay out the nose for him if you didn't get him ahead of time. But.
Yes, you would.
I say take Dan Arnold and one of the running backs. I'm fine just not taking Funk and taking Allison, or taking Funk and the tight end. I'm fine either way. They're both need something to happen. I mean, Allison could be in a timeshare from the get-go. I think the guy there is definitely Xavier Jones, so we could skip Funk and take Allison and Arnold here.
Yeah, I prefer Allison over Funk. I think that Funk would have to outplay Xavier Jones to get some playing time, where I think Allison's already starting to take that number 2 role already.
Yep, and I watched them on all these guys, and Funk got caught from behind a lot more than I like to see when I'm looking for a running back that might emerge.
Okay, I'm going to lock in Arnold then, and then I'll lock in Allison.
Okay.
And on the way back, we'll pick our kicker and our defense.
I like it. All right, you can breathe. We got a tight end behind Waller that we like.
I like Arnold. I'm fine with him there.
I like Arnold a lot. So.
Like after we lost Kmet, I just assumed we were going to get Arnold.
Yeah. Arnold's weird. I mean, people just aren't on him. They don't like him, and I think he's a talented kid. And he probably goes a little later than he should. I'm
going to throw Suckup in here as a kicker, just since we have Brady and Brown and Evans. If they can't finish a drive, Suckup will finish the points.
Don't mind that at all.
And then I'll throw our usual suspects in here, like Will Lutz from the Dome from kicking. I like Rodrigo Blankenship. I'm not sure how to feel about him right now with the Carson Wentz news either.
I thought about that. I actually like him more now. They might,
because they're not going to finish.
Yeah, and Jonathan Taylor gets a lot more touches and gets them in field goal range, and he kicks a lot more field goals. There's kind of always two ways to look at things.
Yeah, that's kind of why I like Lutz more. Like people are down on him this year, but Taysom Hill might not be able to finish a drive. They push the ball, or Kamara runs for 30 yards, or gets a catch and runs for 30 yards. They get in field goal range, and Will Lutz comes in and kicks a field goal. Okay, so we have a couple kickers in there. Defenses: Cleveland, Indy, Miami. We'll hope for one of those.
Oh, definitely.
3. Let's see how many defenses are off the board. One hole has a defense. 2 hole has a defense. 3 needs one. This guy in the 5 hole has 2 defenses.
Yeah.
So does the 6 hole. What the hell?
I like to play matchups.
So 7 needs a kicker. So 2 and 7, or sorry, 3 and 7 need a kicker. 10 and 11. I'm sorry, defense, not kicker. So 3, 7, 10, 11 all need defenses.
Yes.
Looking at a draft, anything you'd change in hindsight?
Maybe a little light at running back.
I think we're a little light at running back too.
Yep. And so that's in this particular draft. But that comes with a 12-0, and we could have taken one or two more stabs at running back, but we just always seem to like the receivers that were there, and so it's fine. We'll work the waiver wire for any potential running backs in this league and go from there. I mean, I don't hate it, but if I had to give self-critique, that would be it.
Yeah, I think I'm in the same boat. I think maybe I'd taken a running back over a receiver in one round. I wouldn't change really anything prior to round 9.
Yeah, and usually we take a few more running backs during that stretch, but in this one we didn't. But this team is night and day from the one I did earlier today. I don't even have. I think I'm gonna have to start. I don't know. It wasn't pretty. It was really bad process on my part.
I think looking at the board, the only pick I'm not crazy about is Rondell Moore, but I don't own a lot of them, so I was fine with the pick. But I probably, looking at it now, with as light as we are at running back, I probably would have taken Chuba or Darrell Williams.
Yeah, could do that, or could have done that at 14 instead of Rieger.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, one or the other. I like Rieger more than Moore, though. I think that AJ Green's going to be involved more than people think. As old as he is, I just see it happening.
I think he'll have a part-time role, and he'll be switched in and out with Kirk, and Rondell Moore will play full-time in the slot. I'm actually underweight on Rondell Moore. I need to own more Rondell Moore. The news I'm getting is leaning that way. So, but yeah, Green will be involved. I mean, they pay him to come. He'll get some. Probably play half the snaps or something like that. Another guy who just doesn't have the juice he once had. We think AJ Green, and we think naturally you're going to think about the old AJ Green. That guy's not around anymore. Injuries take their toll on some of these guys. And originally, I didn't think that way on Rondell Moore, but I do now. And I own very little of him.
So Peter Schrager today from Fox Sports was commenting on the 7-on-7 drills at Arizona practice, and he said, quote, "I know it's just 7-on-7, but AJ Green looks incredible out there at Arizona Cardinals practice."
Nice. Like that. Looks incredible. Lights come on, he plays the first quarter, and that's it. The last 5 years, he's got a history of he just doesn't have it anymore. It's sad, but it's true. He's not the same guy he once was. I don't even know why they went. They got him for that team, to be honest with you. They got those guys. Kirk's a really good player. And they draft Rondell Moore to play the slot. So I don't know what and they had the alpha dog there and DeAndre Hopkins. I really don't even understand what their coaching.
And Larry Fitz technically hasn't retired yet.
He hasn't retired yet. The coach said it's up to him.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I mean, if he doesn't retire, is there a scenario in which he's on this field when you have Rondell Moore, Kirk, AJ, and Hopkins, or are they going to throw him out there purely out of respect?
I think that's why he's having. I think that conversation's already been had. You just don't know about it, and I think they've told him you'll have a part-time role. And
yeah.
To decide if he's interested in that part-time role or just call it a career.
He's had one hell of a career, and he's probably one of my favorite football players of all time.
Awesome guy. Yeah, I don't know why these guys. I mean, I understand why you have a hard time hanging it up, but at some point you've done everything you set out to do in that particular field. Move on and do something else in your life. There's always something else to do. I mean, I worked in a career for 25 years, and I was happy and ready to go. But some of these guys, and it's just the competition and the camaraderie they have with their teammates, and it's hard to leave that environment when you're NFL pro athlete.
17 seasons in the NFL.
That's too long. I mean, that's too long for anybody to play in the NFL. It's a hard game. Hard on your body, hard on everything. I mean, look at Brady. He's still winning at a high level, but there's not very many like him.
Yeah, Brady's kind of a unicorn. He's a unicorn goat, technically.
Yep. Now, he plays a position where you can limit the wear and tear. He gets rid of the ball quick, doesn't take a beating, play in and play out. So it's a different deal with a quarterback. They can have longevity. His longevity is silly, but the quarterback position is you can potentially have a longer career in other positions where you get beat up across the middle or in the defensive line where you can't walk. There's a lot more wear and tear on your body in certain positions in football, for sure.
And it's not like there's like he's already number 2. Larry Fitzgerald is already number 2 in the NFL records for all-time receiving yards, only behind the GOAT, Jerry Rice. Jerry Rice has 22,895 receiving yards, and Larry Fitzgerald has 17,492. Next closest is T.O. with 15,934. And then Moss at 15,292.
Yeah, and look at Moss. Moss just hung it up, walked away. He still had many good years left. Just hung it up.
Jeez.
I've heard many of them talk about it, how hard it is to walk away from that career.
It's going to be interesting to see numbers shift here as we start seeing an extra weekend in the NFL and how that affects these records.
Yeah. I never even thought about that really, but yeah. We're also going to see a shift in ADP in these drafts as soon as camp gets going really good. You start having preseason games. Emotion's going to move players up and down the board. We already talked about the phenomenon of the Thursday game before the season, and then they have drafts after the Thursday game. That has an effect. So you'll definitely see some movement in these players. Certain players will move up and certain players will move down.
I'm going to remind the guys in the draft board here that are playing inside the chat. I know one of you guys love YouTube. So funny.
I hope it comes out all right. I mean, we had some periods where we couldn't hear.
Yeah, there's definitely some skipping, but it'll be okay. Well, we had the bulk of, what was it, 12 rounds without any real issues.
Yeah.
And then from there, it got a little skippy, but people are still able to follow the board. They're still able to see what's happening. They're still able to see the breakdown, the process, the thought process.
Got a Kalen Hill sighting.
Ooh, haven't seen him drafted at all, really.
I drafted him a bunch early in the year and then quit.
Okay, let's see who made it back on our queue. Will Lutz in Indianapolis defense. I'm fine with that.
I'm fine with that. Indy defense or Chargers?
I prefer Indy. I think their defense is much better.
Oof, I don't know. With Derwin James, we'll see. Jury's out on that. But Indy defense is good. They might be on the field.
I'm going to look at shootouts too. So Indy plays. Did he just take Lutz? No, he took Indy. Never mind.
Oh, okay. I thought you took.
No, he took Indy. That answers that question. So we'll lock in Lutz and Chargers then.
Who do the Chargers play week 1? We can always stream defense.
Chargers week 1. Washington football team.
And who do we could stream Carolina defense first week.
Yeah, who do they play? The Jets? Is that who they play?
Yep.
And they play Houston. Yeah, they play the Jets week 1, and they play Houston, I think, week 3, and then they have, I think, Saints week 2.
Okay.
Okay, I'll lock in Lutz here, and then we'll pick Carolina.
I like Carolina. We can stream them, and then we can figure out defense along. We'll just keep streaming defense on this team. That's fine. We didn't get a one of the league defenses we like, so that's fine.
New Orleans is a decent defense, but they have Green Bay week 1. So we can, I think we can just stream. We'll just stream defenses all year. So let's do Carolina.
Okay.
Locked.
Very good.
Once we wrap up here, I'll screenshot the board. I'll get
several 12 holes here lately.
You what?
So we've had several 12 holes here lately.
We've had a lot of 8-hole latelys. Like I was looking back, like we've had like 5 or 6 drafts between 8 and 9.
Yeah.
Just in like the last 10 days.
Yeah.
I was like that in the beginning of the year with like the 1 hole. I got the 1 hole. It seemed like every 2 or 3 drafts. So looking at the final roster, we have Darren Waller round 1, Najee Harris round 2 as our running back 1, Robert Woods round 3 as our wide receiver 1 with Mike Evans in 4, Jerry Jeudy at 5, Michael Carter at 6, Antonio Brown at 7, Laviska at 8, Tom Brady at 9, Drake at 10, Xavier Jones at 11, Damian Williams at 12, Rondell Moore at 13, Jalen Reagor at 14. Trevor Lawrence fell all the way to 15 behind the likes of Kirk Cousins and Deshaun Watson, Justin Fields. That's a far fall. That was a steal of the draft. Brian Edwards at 16, Dan Arnold at 17, Quadri Ellison at 18, Will Lutz at 19, and Carolina defense at 20.
Yep. I like it. You might have to find some running back help along the way, but it's a good start.
Yeah, this will definitely be a waiver wire running back grind, but I think outside that, we're solid. Solid at quarterback, elite at tight end. Really, really solid at wide receiver. Overall strong draft, especially with 3 strong personalities drafting. Like the fact that we agreed on as much as we did with as little pushback from each other, that's pretty impressive in my book.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it went pretty smooth.
Final 3 picks.
Yeah, they all have kicker and defense, so it'll be a position player, I would think. I mean, they could double up at defense, but Todd Gurley. Oh, man.
I'm going to pull the full board up here for everybody. I can see the final board here. Just a little shoot us an email thing.
This draft was a little longer than normal.
It was, yeah. And there was no like clock times or any pauses or anything.
Just a little longer taking picks, I guess.
Baker Mayfield, 20th, man. I swear, I need to do a draft where I just take Baker Mayfield at the very end. That's what I want to do.
I've been in a few leagues where he's on the waiver wire for sure.
So I just placed another bet. I did a bunch of hedge bets for Browns going to the Super Bowl. So I did a bunch of like $25 bets for Browns the Super Bowl versus Team X, or so I went through like 4 or 5 different bets, and I did like a bunch of $25 bets, and each one of them pays between $1,500 and $1,700.
Oh wow, nice.
So if it happens, it happens. Well, everybody, that's the final board here for tonight. That's July 31st, last draft of July, midnight draft here for the FFPC. I want to thank Dave for hopping on here. Let me get us back in here so people can see us. So, Dave, thanks for joining me here.
Enjoyed it. Another good one.
Another good one. Thank Nelson for joining us. Unfortunately, he had some internet issues, but we did get some valuable gold nuggets from him along the way, and some good football discussion throughout the first, 60, 70% of the draft. So, Nelson, thanks for joining us. Thanks to everybody for tuning in. Another fun FFPC night, Midnight Madness, and we'll see you all back here shortly. Take care.